Hey everybody, Nate Lee here, and today I'm going to teach you the Bluegrass up chop. This is the chop used by first generation fiddlers. If you listen to all those old recordings, this is the chop you're going to hear them using when they're chopping, which isn't all that often. I like this chop a lot because it's really unobtrusive. It helps us chop in a jam without risking possibly being a jam buster. And if you don't know what a jam buster is, that's the person who's playing too loud, playing out of tune, playing when it's not their turn, just ruining the jam and ruining everyone else's good time. And we don't want to be a jam buster if we can help it. So I'm going to show you this chop that is a really safe one to use in your local jam because it's not that loud and it makes a nice, pleasing, warm tone. So even if you're playing it poorly, you're not going to ruin the jam using this technique. The Bluegrass up chop sounds like this. So you can hear nice and warm. Even when I play it really loud, it's still not obnoxious. So I'm going to show you how to play this chop, and then I'm also going to show you how to practice this chop effectively. The first thing you need to do before we try the chop is hold your bow whatever way you normally hold it. I hold my bow thumb under. You can hold it thumb under. You can hold it thumb in if you prefer. Whatever way you hold it, that's going to be fine. Next, I want you to hold it out in front of you and look at the gap between the stick of the bow and the hair of the bow. And you can see right in the middle that gap is very narrow. And as we move toward the tip of the bow, it gets wider and wider. So right here where that gap starts to widen is where we're going to do our chop. Now for the left hand, we're going to do something called muting the strings. And when I say muting the strings, I mean that you're going to lay your fingers down on the strings. I like to put my hand right about the middle of the neck. It makes a good sound. You're going to lay your fingers down on the strings, but you're not going to push down. You're going to lay them down just enough that if you strum it with your finger, it makes a clicking sound. So you don't want it to make notes like this. You want it just to make a clicking sound. Now you have to test this by strumming. If you test it with your bow, you're going to get an awful squawk. So that's not a valid test. But if you test it just by strumming with your finger, you can make sure you're getting that clicking sound because we're not playing notes in a chop. This is just a percussion sound, so we don't need any notes at all present. So after you make sure none of your strings are making a note, we're ready to try chopping. So we're going to get in that part of the bow we talked about where the gap between the stick and the hair starts to widen. And we're going to aim for our D string. This makes the most warm and pleasing tone for a chop. We're going to aim at that D string, and with our bow hovering just a couple inches above the strings, we're going to make an upward motion, and we're going to let it land on the string and then bounce off. Just like that. It may take a little practice to get your aim down, and you may miss entirely every now and then. You're just going to chop up. If you look at my right hand, you can see it's kind of moving in a little oval. Just like that. Now that's all there is to this technique. Now you need to know how to practice it. If you don't have a metronome already, get a metronome. You can buy one or you can go online and just search online metronome. There's a lot of websites with a free online metronome. I use them all the time. They work great. You're going to set that metronome so that it's clicking very slowly. And then you're going to chop along with that click. Chop, 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 chop. After you've practiced that to where you're reasonably confident with it, turn on a nice slow bluegrass recording and chop along. Now if the fiddler's chopping, you're going to want to chop when they chop. If the fiddler's not chopping, maybe the mandolin player's chopping. Chop along with that mandolin player. You can also practice this technique in other styles of music. So maybe you're listening to something with drums, then listen for when that snare drum hits, bam, bam, and you want to chop just that same time that that snare drum hits. Once you've practiced it a lot at home and worked really hard on your timing so that you're going to be fun for playing with other people, you want to be the player that they want to play with, which means we need to play in time. Once you're reasonably confident that you can do that, then you're ready to bust this out at a jam. And the way you want to practice it is you want to play it nice and quietly. You don't need to play it that loud. And the best time to chop is when the mandolin player is taking their solo. However, this particular chop, because it's so unobtrusive, if you want to practice it, you can chop the whole jam and you're not going to mess it up. Just chop right along with the music whenever you feel like it. The key is to stay in time, practicing with your metronome a lot beforehand so that you do this well when it's time to jam. So you want to stay in time. You don't want to push your fingers down so that you don't get the squawk. And then after that, just have fun, because this is a really fun and rewarding technique, and it's a great one because even if it goes terribly wrong, you're still not going to ruin the jam. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to show it, please click the thumbs up button below, and also click the red subscribe button below the video and subscribe to my channel. You'll be the first to hear about new videos that I make for the fiddle or mandolin. If you find that watching videos just isn't cutting it and you need a little more one-on-one instruction, check out my website, thenately.com, and sign up for online Skype lessons. You can meet with me every week, and I'll sit there and help you with whatever you need to become a better musician and to play well with other people. If there's a video you'd like to see on this channel, either put something in the comments below or email me, nate@thenately.com, and you may see that topic show up in a future video. Until then, check out my other videos on my channel, and if you have any questions about any of it, give me an email or put something in the comments. Thank you.